JBNN will keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones. Hi guys, before we get into the news, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and to share the news with someone today. Now on to the news. 2 farmers die in St. Elizabeth crash. 2 men died following a crash on the Richbend Main Road, St. Elizabeth, about 9:36 Tuesday night. The men have been identified as 62-year-old Winston Sinclair and the 50-year-old Vernon Forbes, both farmers of Little Park and Roundhill districts in the parish. It's reported that Forbes, who was the driver of the motorcycle with Sinclair's plane rider, were heading towards Watchwell when they collided with a Toyota Axle motor car traveling in the opposite direction. One of the bodies was found in bushes in the area, while the other was seen on the side of the road. The driver of the vehicle received injuries and was rushed to hospital. According to a source, the motorcar driver is suspected to have been the cause of the crash as he failed to keep left. The source also revealed that the driver has since checked himself out of hospital and is being sought by the police. Bones found in shallow graves in Central Village again. Sections of the greater community of Zambia in Central Village, St. Catherine, have earned the tag of an unofficial burial ground, a concern for some residents as the security forces constantly unearth shallow graves with human remains. An excavation process which required the services of scene of crime investigators using hard tools such as pickaxes, shovels, sieves and machetes in a heavily vegetated area began early yesterday and went late into the afternoon. At 1 p.m., human remains had been found in 2 shallow graves. A third had not yet been dug up. Investigators said that on this occasion, they were in the community on an intelligence-driven operation searching for gunmen and illegal weapons when they stumbled upon the graves. Right now, you can't tell nobody say over here on a human burial ground. Every minute, so, no man. It's like if you hear anybody missing, people have to come look over here. If you see an ordinary man a dig, even if a farm, you have to go think and look. You have to ask yourself, away my plant, a resident said in a whisper. The area of Zambia, where the police cordoned and centered their excavation as a plethora of abandoned homes at different stages of construction. A senior officer said that it would take some amount of forensic science to determine the sex, how many, and possibly how long the body or bodies were buried. Yearly, the country reports several persons missing, some of whom are never found or accounted for. Exhumation is nothing new to different sites in the Central Village community. Residents have expressed in the past that they are fearful of commenting on the issue publicly. On Tuesday, many stood at their gates simply watching as police service vehicles and the media traversed the space. A young boy, not yet a teen, placed at Charity's gate and positioned himself using his cell phone to capture the happenings. On April 9, 2022, residents were perplexed by an odor and the sighting of turkey vultures in an area of Zambia. The authorities were summoned, and on their arrival, they discovered human remains spread across 3 properties, some wrapped in plastic. At one point, dogs, which did their fair share of exhuming, ran around eating flesh from what turned out to be human bones. The residents said then that they had been bothered by the mystery odor for at least 2 days. The bulk of the remains were found in a vegetated open lot near a sign that said, "Welcome to Zambia." The police say their investigation into yesterday's gruesome find is ongoing. Jamaican woman jailed in Antigua for escaping from immigration custody. A magistrate court in Antigua on Tuesday sentenced a Jamaican woman to 7 months in jail for escaping lawful custody. Tiffany Stephanie Howell, 30, was one of 2 women who were on the run for the past week. She surrendered to the Immigration Department on Sunday and was sentenced at the All Saints Magistrate Court. On January 20, Howell and another Jamaican, 23-year-old Donnelly Samantha Salmon, escaped the Immigration Department's detention center where they were being housed by breaking a bathroom window. Howell, who was charged with escaping lawful custody, appeared in the All Saints Magistrates Court where she pleaded guilty to the charge that carries the maximum 1-year jail term. Meanwhile, Salmon was apprehended on Tuesday night. They were both awaiting deportation to Jamaica. Salmon is expected to appear in court later this week. Witness identifies voices on audio recording in Beaches South trial. The contract killer in Tony McDonald's murder yesterday gave conflicting testimony about when he reportedly secretly recorded conversations between himself and the woman's husband about the plot to have her killed. When asked when he had done the recordings, Denverlin Minot, the prosecution's key witness, who was yesterday recalled to the stand, told the court that he began recording the conversations after Tonia's death. But less than 30 minutes later, he said he began recording the conversations on a black phone the moment he received it from MacDonald until the night of Tonia's death. During one of the conversations, he and the man, said to be MacDonald, were heard discussing an aborted attempt on Tonia's life, in which Minot speaks of seeing Tonia arriving home shortly before her husband reportedly showed up and signaled Minot to call off the hit. Minot testified early in the trial that MacDonald hired him to kill his wife, but that he passed off the hit to Oscar Barnes. MacDonald and Barnes are currently on trial in the Home Circuit Court for Tonia's murder. Minot was yesterday recalled to the witness stand to identify the voices in the recordings that were played in court and to explain some of the conversations. He confirmed that the voices heard were his and MacDonald's and that he had recorded the conversations. He also told the court that he had used 4 phones which were given to MacDonald. He said the phones all had dual SIMs and that he was given a digital chip to call MacDonald and a lime chip to call his wife. Additionally, he said that he had purchased a memory card which he had inserted in each of the phones to store the recordings. However, he explained to the court that MacDonald had asked him to return all of the phones and that, for each one he handed over, he would retain the memory card for himself. Minot claimed MacDonald first told him to bring in the first phone as it contained conversations that could implicate him in his wife's murder. According to Minot, he subsequently placed the memory card in his personal phone, a Samsung A31, which he handed over to the police when he was being arrested. In one of the conversations that was replayed, Minot was heard telling MacDonald that he had planned to kill his wife at their home, even though he had spotted a teenager in the yard. But me did a plan for work with him same way still. Me did a plan for work around him same way, this or same place. Cause me not go to the itching thing, man. You see it, he said. Asked by the prosecutor what work meant, he said it meant to kill Tonia. MacDonald was heard instructing Minot to call him before he went by the house and to make sure they communicated nightly, as he did not want the murder to be done when other persons were present. Minot was further heard saying he was not happy that they had to abort the murder because he was broke. "It'll take too long, it'll take too long now," he said, to which MacDonald replied, "Too long, too long, too long." In another conversation, Minot was heard telling MacDonald that he had overheard Tonia speaking to a policeman on the phone when she arrived home while he was waiting to kill her. Continuing, he told MacDonald that he heard Tonia telling the policeman that she was going to text him when she went inside. The trial heard from a previous witness, a former employee of MacDonald's, that the businessman believed his wife was cheating on him with a policeman and had secured several pictures of the two on dates and in compromising positions. And early in the proceedings, Minot identified his voice asking MacDonald to give him $30,000 to pay the taxi operator who was in the businessman's yard. Early in the trial, Minot told the court, while detailing failed attempts to kill Tonia, that a taxi operator transported him to MacDonald's home. He also identified his voice saying, "We just want the man to feel good." In another excerpt, Minot identified a voice said to be MacDonald's saying, "We no longer can meet again. We only can link pandemic what we have." When asked to explain what MacDonald meant, Minot said not to check him back, collect the money from the person. Opposition wants NHD head to resign over NDA with housing developer. The parliamentary opposition is calling for the resignation of Martin Miller, the managing director of the National Housing Trust NHD, who signed a non-disclosure agreement with a private housing developer to settle a failed multi-billion-dollar contract. Senator Floyd Morris, opposition spokesperson on housing and sustainable living, Wednesday morning demanded that Miller step down, calling the arrangement with Dexim Holdings botched.
It has been brought to our attention through the media that in 2019, the NHT entered into a contract under the Guaranteed Purchase Program with Dexim Holdings Limited. Among other things, the contract stipulated that Dexim Holdings should build 200 houses at a price of $12.5 million per unit. The total cost of the contract was $2.5 billion. We have been told that the NHT has paid over, under the contract, the sum of $650 million, or 26% of the total value. There has been a subsequent disagreement between the NHT and the developer, which has seen the matter taken to court. We have seen from newspaper reports that after mediation, both parties have agreed to a consensual agreement, which is subject to non-disclosure. However, information emanating from a reportedly leaked agreement has revealed that, among other things, the parties have agreed to Dexam Holding paying the NHT the $650 million in full and a further payment of $20 million over a 12-month period, not surpassing December 2024. This entire transaction between the NHT and Dexam Holdings raises several concerns to the opposition and the wider Jamaican community. We believe that what has taken place in this sweetheart deal constitutes a breach of transparency, accountability, and good governance. As the political administration that established the NHT in 1976 under the distinguished leadership of the Most Honorable Michael Manley, and as the government in waiting, we cannot sit idly by and allow the contributors' monies to be treated this way. In our estimation, and based on what has been presented to us, we believe that what has transpired constitutes a plundering of the NHT's funds and should not go unpunished. We would therefore like to know, 1, why did the NHT depart from its stated policy for the guaranteed purchase program with the developer by paying over $650 million before any of the houses were delivered? 2, was there proper due diligence done on the inspection of the slated property for development to ensure that everything was in order for a cost-effective delivery of the houses? 3, why is there a non-disclosure agreement in the settlement between the NHT and Dexam Holdings when NHT is a public body and is managing public funds? 4, was the board privy to this NDA? 5, was the minister with responsibility for the NHT, who in this instance is the Most Honorable Prime Minister, aware of the NDA? These questions must be answered fully for greater transparency to be brought on the matter. NHT has been one of the most prudent public sector institutions since its establishment in 1976. But we have seen for the past 8 years where its focus have become obscure. In the obscuration of its focus, some questionable decisions have been made. There is absolutely no way that $650 million of contributors' money should be delivered to a private developer to develop affordable housing for contributors to the trust. And all it is getting back in return is the principal and $20 million after 5 years. A simple mathematical calculation revealed that the $20 million works out to $4 million per annum, or a mere 3% over 5 years. This is significantly less than what is charged to a developer on the public-private partnership agreement of that the NHT charges, as the NHT charges between 3 to 4% per annum to the developer. Based on advertisements that we have seen from the developer, a unit is now being sold on the open market for approximately 25 million. Over 170 houses have been completed from reports, which means that when all are sold, the developer will generate revenues of over 4 billion. Compare this to the 650 million plus $20 million that the NHT is receiving for its investment. If this is not a sweetheart deal, I don't know what else is. If this is not a plunder of NHT funds, I don't know what else is. We are therefore calling for the following. One, for the managing director of the NHT, who is one of the signatories to the NDA, to resign for this botched arrangement with Dexum Holdings. Two, for the full settlement to be released for public scrutiny. Three, for the country to be told if the most honorable Prime Minister, whether or not he was aware of the settlement and the NDA clause delineated in it. Four, for the NHT to ensure that in all future GPP, it conducts proper due diligence, including a fit and proper check on all the parties involved in the housing development. Five, for the NHT to declare if it is having any similar problems with contractors, developers, that it has engaged in other projects across the island. I thank you.
JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.